we got up there, and of course we did the packet pickup and the expo. I would still say that Pittsburgh Marathon still has one of the best expos. Still has the hype around the race, the excitement around the race. It's unmatched as of right now. I mean, I'm pretty sure the major marathons like the Chicago or the London or the Tokyo, I'm pretty sure their expos are like amazing. But I'm holding it down for the city. They have a really good expo. So get there, do our packet pickup. We go to, see a lot of different vendors. I use a nutrition called Tailwind at times, and it was like impossible to find it in Pittsburgh. Sometimes you gotta go online for things like that, and so I did find it out there, and they just had it on in the store. Now, granted, I don't know if they had it because they knew that a lot of people were coming to the expo, or that's just something that they carry because it's a bigger city. Maybe it's the demand for it is a lot better than it is here. So um, that was something that I really like. I was like, man, I could just pick this up instead of ordering it online, because sometimes you run out and you forget to order, and now you got to go get a lesser nutrition, and that kind of breaks up your gut. Your gut might be used to one nutrition, but just because you need that nutrition at that moment, you might have to go for a lesser nutrition, and that might mess things up for you. So it was nice that they had that nutrition on hand, and I was able to get it, and it wasn't that expensive, so that was cool. Um, me and my wife decided to go get something to eat. Like I said, we was driving around some of the neighborhoods, just checking out the neighborhoods in Columbus. It was really good. We got some pasta, and we headed back to the hotel. I had a 1 mile run, and my wife came out with me. And after that, it was just time to, just to relax and get my nutrition together. Feeling good. The weather's supposed to be really nice, so that's really good. And yeah, just ready to get this run done. Let's see y'all tomorrow morning. Get rested up. I'm already done eating for the day, and feeling good. So all the work is done. It's just time to race. So see y'all tomorrow. Get my bottles together, and just kind of get into race mode. Um, I had the idea that I was going to break this for marathon, and that was just where I was at. So after 5 o'clock, I stopped eating, and I just moved my bowels and tried to make sure that I was in the race shape, because when I wake up in the morning, I wanted to make sure that I ate, that I went to the bathroom, and that I was prepared for the race. It's 6:14. Hit it to the start line. Feeling good. It's like windy. Weather's decent. A little bit of clouds in the sky, but don't seem like it's not supposed to rain. But it's a little wet. It definitely rained yesterday. Pretty much all day yesterday. But it's very cool. Got my legs out. Feeling good. So headed to the start line. The race starts at 7:30. The corrals open at 6. So got people funneling in. Hopefully the start line isn't so chaotic, but we'll see. So headed there now. I chose not to run with my phone or headphones, so I'm not going to have any in-race footage from this race. This one is a little personal. So see y'all after the race. Let you know how it goes. Morning comes, and it was time to go. So where our hotel was, it was just a short walk from the actual start line. So I think it was about a 9-minute walk. So we actually didn't have to move the car, but we thought we could have got a little bit closer to the marathon. So we actually got in a car and moved, but we just ended up coming back to the to the hotel parking lot and just leaving it there and just walking down. So we got down there in a decent time. Perfect time. Life is so weird.
What time is it?
Like I got enough time to literally get ready, go to the bathroom, stretch. This is weird. Like it was a really good time to be there, but I realized at the last minute that I left half of my second half of nutrition in the car. So I knew that they had aid stations on literally every I think it was like every 2 miles, or yeah, every 2 miles they had an aid station. They had 17 aid stations on course, which that was like amazing. And I think after mile 17 they had like an energy shot, which was like, a gel that can help you out once you get past those earlier stages. So the tale of every marathon, of course, is the fact that everybody has to go to the porta potty at the same time. So one thing we didn't realize is that they had porta potties in the runners corral. So I was just waiting in line. It took me about 20 minutes to get into the porta potty, and literally there was 5 minutes left until I got to the start line. Walked to the start line 5 minutes before the race went off. I didn't really have too much time to stretch and everything, but I think I was prepared. I got warmed up before when we was walking to the marathon. I was stretching and getting things together. I wasn't, I just didn't come in like hot. I was, I was prepared. I knew what it was. This wasn't my first marathon, so I kind of knew that time would be cutting close. So I just took it for what it was, and just got in that 5 minutes I got stretched up and warmed up my calves a little bit, but I didn't have like 15 minutes to stretch or anything. My wife actually went back to the car and got my nutrition, and I just told her to meet me at the mile 13, because at mile 13 it came back through the city, and I knew she'd be able to see me at that checkpoint. So I seen her on on mile 13. I was able to get my other half of nutrition. So the first half of the race went really well. I will honestly say that I felt so good during that first half of the race. I mean, it felt like I was going to reach my goal. My my paces were on point. I actually was doing a little bit better than I anticipated. I had this mindset of 8:55 in my head that I just wanted to finish the race at 8:55 pace, and I was on that pace. I was doing really well, and up to that point, I was crushing it. I seen my wife at mile 13, and I switched off my water bottle, and I got my two nutrition packs from her, and I was ready to go. And something about one of the gels that I took, it was kind of hard, and in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have took it. I probably should have just kind of threw it at the aid station, and because I had other gels, but the gel that I had was kind of coagulated. Like when I popped it, when I tore it open, it kind of popped, and you know, when I went to go take it in, it was kind of like a taffy like, and if you ever had energy gels, it's not supposed to be chewy. And in my mind, I was trying to rationalize with it the fact that it was cold out, and maybe it just kind of I had to warm it up a little bit with my hands. So I took it in, and immediately, soon as I swallowed it, my body just kind of had a negative reaction to it, and I just started throwing up. So at this point, I'm going into mile 14, and I'm throwing up. and anything that I try to take in, my body is just kind of rejecting it. So I decided to, take that time, and I was like, we're on mile 14. In my mind, I wanted to throw it down at mile 14. I wanted to, kind of throw in some 7 minute miles in there, maybe seven, that high 750s, 7 minutes and 50-second miles. I wanted to kind of, put a little bit of time in my bank, because when I hit the 13-mile mark, I was at about 156, I believe, or 150. I want to say 156 or 154. It's somewhere in between that range. I was in an hour and 54 minutes or an hour and 56 minutes, but I had some time in the bank to kind of not play around with, but I thought to myself, if I needed to stop at the porta potty, or if I needed to, kind of stretch out my legs, I still had a little bit of time left. So I went into the porta potty, and in the porta potty, I caught a full body cramp. I mean, everything cramped up. My back, and for some reason, this was the first race that my back and my arms cramped up really bad. I didn't really have too much problems with at that moment. I didn't have too much problems with my legs, but when I got in the porta potty and I went to go move my bowels, my body locked up. And so I'm still thinking, like, man, I got at least 5 minutes to kind of pull it together. And I knew, if I got out the porta potty, I can just start running. And as soon as I got out the porta potty, it took me. I will honestly say it took me about a minute to get out the porta potty. And as soon as I got out the porta potty, it's like everything just kind of like locked up, and then my stomach started hurting. Just imagine having full body cramps and also a stomach ache at the same time. And this happened for at least for the next 2 miles. For 20 minutes, I had a stomach ache, and I was just throwing up, just stomach ache, throwing up, and cramping. So at this point, I thought to myself, like, okay, you can't stop for too long, because you're going to be throwing off your pace. And at this time, I wasn't completely out of the game. I just had to pull it back together. So as I was running, I thought, man, like, just kind of like run, walk. So when I felt good, I started running, and then everything would lock up again. And it wasn't until the point where I got to, there was like a stadium that we ran around, one of their college football teams. There was a stadium that we ran around, and it wasn't until then that, man, it really hit me that this might not be something that I can recover from, because now everything that I tried to take in wasn't coming out. So everything that I tried to take in at that point just wouldn't stay down. Like, at this point, I tried to even use some gummies, some nutritional gummies, and the way they just broke down in my mouth, it just made me throw up. So I was like, okay, at this point, I was like, well, the only thing that's not making me throw up is taking in, the Gatorade that they had on course. They had Gatorade Endurance on course, and this is something that I've been training with anyway. Now, when I first took the Gatorade Endurance powder formula, my stomach, it tore my stomach up, and so I think my body had to get used to using it. So I think if I didn't switch over to that formula during training, I would have had a way tougher time with it. But that was the only thing that really stayed with me, that I was able to use and keep rolling with. So I knew at that moment, okay, the Gatorade endurance formula is something that I can use. I still had some in my water, my squeezy water bottles. I still had some nutrition left in there, and I was like, you know what, I can use this to get through this race. And so that's pretty much what I used to get through the rest of the race. It was just liquids, and there was a whole bunch of starting and stopping. I want to say around mile 20, I kind of realized, like, okay, I'm off of my target, and I'm not going to be able to finish unless I start throwing down 6-minute miles. And just see that my heart rate was high, and it was just starting and stopping. And at this point, I was just fighting against my body, because anytime I put in a somewhat of an effort, my body would just lock up. I remember at some point during my starting and stopping, I stopped, and I remember I remember leaning against a pole and I was throwing up. And I remember one of the police officers came over and he was like, "Dude, are you okay? Like, do you need like like do you need the medics?" And for me, I was like, there's no way you're gonna DNF me on this race. Like, no, there's no possible way that I'm not gonna finish this race. So I just decided that, you know what, I'm not going to stop for a long time. If I'm going to throw up, I'm going to run and throw up. So I did a series of running and throwing up, and then after a certain while, I think my body just kind of realized like we're not going to stop, and I just finished the race. So at that point, it was just all about finishing. I finished. I did finish, and I finished 25 minutes. I finished 25 minutes outside of my goal. So this is where it really gets conflicted for me, and this is where things get conflicted for me, and this is where it kind of, you know, this is where things kind of suck because my goal was to get this sub 4 marathon, and over this year, over the multiple years, I sacrificed a lot. Not only just personally, I sacrificed a lot with my family. I sacrificed a lot of time. I mean, man, it sucks. I couldn't get the idea of paying for a loss. I paid my good hard money to get into the race. I paid my good hard money to pay for the hotel. I paid my good hard money for coaching. I paid my good hard money for the nutrition and the shoes, and I got a child and I got a wife and I got a household, and I could not shake the feeling of paying my money to lose. That sucks. That really sucked, and it was tough to get congratulated by people knowing that I didn't feel like I deserved the congratulations because I didn't reach my goal. And I'm very, very hard on myself, and I know that finishing a marathon is a big feat for anybody, but at this point I felt as though I should be able to reach my goals. Now, I do understand that there was things that happened, and I do understand that marathons are very unpredictable. But for me, I expect a lot out of myself, and I expect better for myself. And that means going forward, everything has to change. That means literally starting from scratch, starting everything from scratch. That means everything from scratch. How I train, when I train, who I train with, where I train, nutrition, everything. Yeah, it was a big moment for me. It was definitely a big moment to finish that, even though, like I said, it wasn't in my goal. My goal was to get that sub 4, but man, I 425 ain't bad. 425 ain't bad at with my mindset now. Of course, I wanted to do better, but finishing in that time that I did with no headphones, no distractions, just plain old grit, that's something I could be proud
of. Stay till the morning, tell me you want it. You know I go on and on, cause you're too important. I'm honest, too honest. Know if you touch me, I'm gone it. Just say